Time Productions is a nonprofit organization established in 2000 under the inspiration of General Colin Powell's America's Promise. They tackle the issues concerning the lack of positive empowerment seminars on television for teens, an effort that originally began as an inter-classroom character building initiative. Teen Time is also the developer of the Seminar of Hope back in 2008, which is an intervention program designed to stamp out juvenile delinquency in Florida and one day across the nation. Meet Miss S., the founder of Teen Time Productions, next on Bayside. Good morning and welcome to Bayside. I am your host, Shelly Sanders. As I said in the open, we are talking all about teens in the Bay Area and hopefully one day the nation. Actually, we are talking about the teens across the nation, but hopefully making an impact on them as well. For now, without any further ado, I'd like to introduce to you a many award-winning Stacy Spencer. You are 2011 Tampa Bay Businesswoman of the Year Media winner, plus 2018 Tower Award winner from the Presentation Academy for Service and Advocacy. Many titles you hold, including the founder of Teen Time, and what an important group that often is overlooked in society. You know, they're in that weird place between the cute littles and adulthood, and oftentimes they're just misunderstood and overlooked. So welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm so honored to be here.
Yes, it's wonderful to have you here. Let's kind of start out broad. I know I kind of mentioned what you do here, but you know, it can only come better described from you personally. So let's talk about exactly what you're doing. I know there's a lot of initiatives, a lot of programs. We mentioned the Seminar of Hope. But what exactly is Teen Time and how are they doing it here? How did it get its start?
By an invitation from someone who was in the Department of Juvenile Justice in 2007, we were invited to come to the Tampa Bay market. That was transitioning from Louisville, which is our flagship location, and then in 2014 we spread our wings into DFW, the big Dallas marketplace. But this is home base to Teen Time, still doing those 3 E's: to educate, encourage, and empower the youth of today to be the leaders of today and tomorrow. However, we know that technology has increased its role in the lives of our young people, and so now the competitor for the young people's lives and their minds and their hearts is dealing with the electrical space of society where we all live at one point in time or the other. So we had to become virtually savvy while still standing psychologically grounded, because this is a conversation. You and I are talking. We're on your beautiful show. But these kids today, they talk through their fingers. They expect for you to be on their same frequency. And if you just don't understand all of their apps and their different adjectives and their different abbreviations or shorthand, it can be tough communicating with them. So a lot of times there's still a need for positive television programming on television, but they live in social media. So even in social media, there's such a paucity of great ideas that are being formulated out there that may not be getting to them because of where they reside.
Right. So couldn't agree with you more, and it's super frustrating. I mean, even as a parent, you know, to watch and to see just a non-stop this device. You know, I often think of the evolution of man t-shirts that you've seen or posters where it comes from here to the erect and then back down, right, from the phone.
Right.
So it's frustrating. So how in the world is Teen Time coming to the rescue, so to speak?
We still, let me just say it like this, Shelley, we still enforce the high standards, the meaningful morals, the valuable virtues, the priceless values, whether it's in person, one-on-one, in a group setting, virtually. We haven't left that mantle. But what we did notice is that teen time in the last 10 years, the last 7 years, the last 7 minutes, has had to become virtually or technologically savvy as well. What I'm learning now that I knew 15 years ago, and as this technologically superhighway evolved, and then the devices got more linear, and they can carry them now in their pocket, or they even have them in their ears, that there is a major competitor vying for the lives of our young people. But the young people today, while and yet they may be astute, they are not psychologically grounded to handle the technologically peer pressure of the age. So that's why you see the rise in the opioid addiction and the fentanyl usage, looking at life and just saying life is just not worth it, thinking that they have no hope because the future looks hopeless. So I think basically we try to help all of the stakeholders in the lives of young people, bridging that gap, being a great communicative network between law enforcement, clergy, guardian ad litems, moms, business owners, neighbors, teachers, and anyone that's in the life of a young person. It really still does take a village to raise our young people. And so today, many of our focuses have been on parents understanding this technologically savvy teen that I have. How do I communicate with this young individual that doesn't even know I'm in the room, that doesn't even know that I exist? And so a lot of times questions come, people who might even be big CEOs of companies handling multi-$100 million platforms. And they said, but the one thing I have no control over is my teenager, my young person. Can you help us? I think we go back to the basics. We do the education, empowerment, and giving them those tools of connectability, letting them know, hey, I'm here for you. Just don't think that all of your friends and people that care about you are in cyberspace. I'm here for you. Right. Having those nice conversations. Build hot chocolate time. Hot chocolate and pizza. Rice Krispies used to do it for us. You could smell those marshmallows and all of that good butter and that crunchy stuff going. Those are the times that you can have those heart-to-heart conversations and kind of break down the barriers that might be there.
So what does that look like on a physical basis? Like, are you in the schools? Are they coming to you? How are you making all that happen?
Since COVID, so we can't avoid, the elephant in the room.
Of course.
COVID changed everything, that you had to go virtual. But now that things are opening back up, we have a lot of requests coming in for smaller seminars, sometimes for teenage girls. What I will say about social media, that the one thing that I'm not in favor of, a lot of times the music, the movies, the gaming says to a young girl, if I'm not sexual and I'm not sensual, then I'm not acceptable. That's just not right.
Right.
Everyone is not following Hollywood to raise their children, and TikTok, to raise their children. There's still some grounded parents out there like yourself that want them to have traditional morals, values and meaningful morals and the high standards that they live by.
I think you're speaking for all parents out there, anyone even in dealing with kids in general. So I know you at home are probably wanting more information. Not to worry. The website that you're looking at right there, teamtyme.com, and that's TEETYME.com. teamtyme.com. That's the website that's going to give you all the information that Miss S, Stacy Spencer, and I are speaking on today, and then some. All your questions can be answered there, and even if you want to get involved, maybe volunteer or help out financially, I don't think they'll say no. Why don't you check it out while we go to break? Welcome back to Bayside. I'm your host, Shelley Sanders. I've been speaking with Miss Stacy Spencer, the founder of Teen Tyme, aka Miss S. I love that you've got that initial, Miss S, Stacy Spencer. I guess I could be a Miss S too,
yes.
Shelley Sanders.
Shelley Sanders.
So listen, this is such a relevant topic. Teens are, you know, Whitney Houston said it best. The children are our future, and as much as they don't like to hear it, teens are still children, right?
Yes.
So it is very important because we do a lot of focusing on the littles. It's just like, you know, puppies are cute, right? Little kids are cute. And so once the teens start coming about, they become like mini adults. So a lot of times adults don't know how to handle that.
Right.
So I think that it's very important that Teen Time and organizations like yourself exist in that format. So we left out on what does it look like? What are you doing? How are you tackling the situation, which the situation being, let's make a laundry list of anything and everything that, you know, is relevant in a teen's life, and they are the most difficult creatures to communicate with when you're a parent of one, right?
Yes.
So this Seminar of Hope that you established in 2008 is one of the tools in your tool belt, so to speak, that has really been a hands-on thing to kind of get in there, be an intervention type situation, plus an empowerment, and really get into things to try and stop the corruption of our teens, for lack of a better term. So let's talk about that. What exactly is that? How do you go about facilitating that? Where are these seminars? What does it look like?
I want to go back to one question that you did have. Teen Time, I want to say something. For the last 7-8 years, Stacy Spencer is more than just a teen talker, and I think your viewing audience needs to know that. Teen Time was a gift. It was almost like the Almighty Himself dropped it in my heart that no matter where I would go and speak and coach and train and be a keynote speaker for corporations and women's groups all over the world, I would never forget our young children, because as I began to meet many of these power brokers around the country and right here in our beautiful Florida, I learned that they all had someone that they were concerned about in their lives as a young person. So my job still is to facilitate bringing all of those stakeholders together. But Teen Time started out with two umbrellas, one being programs, and then the other one programmatic. A Seminar of Hope being an anti-violence intervention, juvenile delinquency intervention program, was the one that is needed then and even more so on a revamped Reload 8.0 today, because it was designed to help curtail the referrals that the kids got in school, to help them understand, to chart a better course of life, a pathway that would be a wholesome member of society, contributing wholesome things to society, and looking at life with some hope, and thinking about it that if I could just get a breakthrough, then I could go farther with my life, instead of saying, you know, life just isn't worth it. And so the Seminar of Hope, what happened is when it started in 2008, right here in St. Petersburg, Florida, it was a culmination of my mind going out and blending with educators and law enforcement and lawmakers, and then young people, and then young teenage felons behind prison bars, and writing the thesis for the Seminar of Hope to say that there is something waiting for you to connect with, people that care, that want to see your future become brighter than ever before. I think that where we are today, there's still that competitive piece, like I was asking you during the break. What is that number one and two thing I ask every mom, every grandmom, every guardian ad litem? What is that number one and two thing that wakes you up at 3 a.m. in the morning? You just can't stop walking the floor. For you, it's something different. For me, I have beautiful nieces. It's something different. And for the mom that's just wanting to see all of her family do well, it's something different. But with our young girls, the imagery and trying to compete, the sexuality, the sensuality, and so competitive. And then our young boys, I mean, they just kind of handle things, you know, back in the day, it used to be a fisticuff. Now today, you might have something worse happen, and we see it happening all across the country. So being a unifying voice to bring all of the stakeholders in the lives of a young person together in a collective venue was what I saw in my mind's eye when I wrote the thesis behind prison bars with a young person. The Seminar of Hope is more than just a show up and speak. You get to meet former FBI's most wanted felons. You get to go through a psych piece of the seminar that I developed. You get to go through that compassionate piece, which I created, so that we can get to the nuts and bolts of why you act the way you do.
Sure.
So irrational.
So if there's someone in, say, in the education field right now watching, thinking, you know what, I would love to get this into my school, how do they go about doing that?
The issue there as to why that pilot program started in 2008 and then ended in 2011 was because those monies came through the federal sector. So now the issue is in the revamping. You know, you've got 10 years later or 9 years later, it's still that money piece because it's innovative and it's an encompassing piece. It's just not, it builds on each part. And there's 3 SIMs, there's a press conference that goes with that piece, and then there's a aftercare part.
Gotcha. And if you want more information, perhaps you are that person at home wondering, all this information is on the website, teentyme.com, and that's Tyme with a Y, TEENTYME.com. I've got a great idea. We've got to go to break, so you should go check it out. We'll be back. Welcome back to Bayside. I'm your host, Shelly Sanders. We are continuing our conversation all about teen time here in the Bay Area with Miss S, who is also Miss Stacy Spencer. Stacy, we left out talking about that Seminar of Hope, just exactly what it does, what it means. You walked us through that just a little bit. I want to get down, we could probably have you on for the next 50 shows and still not just tackle everything there is to know about teen time. So I want to get down to the nitty gritty, which is this doesn't happen on its own. You're not an unbelievable billionaire that's just doing this benevolently, right? You may be doing it out of the benevolence of your heart, but not from a financial standpoint. So let's talk about those needs, because organizations like yours, they can't function without funds, right?
Correct.
So let's talk about, what are your top needs? How does somebody at home that's thinking, you know what, I would really like to get involved in this somehow, I don't know, what does that look like?
Well, I will say this, Shelley, for the viewing audience, we are 501c3. So your dollars do create change. Your contributions create change, and your dollars make a difference, and they can make a difference right now. What I would say is that Teen Time has needed an SUV for quite some time because we like to roll out real classy. It's big with the kids. It's a talking piece. The vehicle that was gifted to us from someone's private estate 7 years ago has gone on the fritz. We've put so many miles on it, traveling throughout Tampa Bay and Hernando, Pasco, Hillsborough County, administering seminars before the pandemic, that now after things have calmed down, that is one of our most critical needs. The Seminar of Hope just doesn't happen on a wing and a prayer. It does take those creative dollars to create the difference, because it is a comprehensive seminar. It's one that builds upon the other and has a huge press conference piece that includes, those guardian ad litems, teachers, and the people who are in leadership in our great government here in Florida. The other thing that I will say is we have had many partnerships over the years with Home Depot, Walmart, Famous Tate, that whenever we need raw materials, home goods, or TJ Maxx, we can go and get donated things that they're going to be discarding of, and we can use that. But for the programs, like a Seminar of Hope, or A to the third power, attitude plus attendance equals achievement, the dollars create the difference. And so, of course, 501c3, great tax write-off as well.
Right, for all of you that are thinking, hey, maybe you've even got an old car that you're thinking, I don't know, but what a great opportunity here. And again, like Stacy said, contact your accountant. Now, we're not accountants, but I'm positive that a portion of your donation, if not all of it, wherever you stand, is a tax write-off. So there is the website right there, Teen Tyme, spelled with a Y, TEENTYME.com, teentyme.com. That'll give you all the information and then some that Miss S and I have been speaking about today on Bayside. Why don't you check it out while we go to break? As always, I want to thank you for joining us this week on Bayside. And of course, Stacy, thank you so much for being here. It's been a pleasure. I'm so happy to hear all the wonderful things that you're doing. Keep it up. So for you at home, it's important to know every dollar that Teen Tyme makes goes back into the programs and projects that they do here in the Bay Area, impacting not just our future, but the future of our kids and teens out there. I encourage you every week to get out and get involved. This is a great way to do it. teentyme.com. We'll see you next week.